A shop in the Pacific Northwest, Mindful Games, has been running a 1K circuit series for a while now. I have attended these with lots of different heroes and posted videos about my tournament recaps and up to a final top 16 cut. Originally coming into the tournament, we were third seed and wanted to bring Verdance. We'll do a quick tournament recap and then I'll run through the deck list I played for the day. Our local area really heavily favors towards Assassin. It seems to be a very popular hero here. And so in the sideboard, I wanted to tweak a couple things. With CYB going, something like Fertile Ground plus Energy Potions felt like a good replacement to the HPOT combo, specifically for new. The main problem with new playing the HPOTs is that she can rip them from you. Fertile Ground doesn't have as high of a ceiling as the HPOT combo, but it does make up for in the fact that you have to set up less pieces. You only need to set up maybe one energy potion, and it makes it harder for her to rip the pieces from you, especially since you can have a Fertile Ground in your arsenal or in the graveyard to grab with Plume. It gives you Strider's Reach on your opponent's turn, which is something the deck has not historically been able to do. With Strider's up, you are able to play a Pulsing, and if you can Fertile Ground in addition to the Pulsing life half, if you can throw a couple rampants in there, you can very easily get up to 20, if not more damage on your opponent's turn, right? So that's a very big difference, right? That's something Verdance has not been able to do previously, is have a combo turn on your opponent's turn. When I went into this, I knew Assassin was gonna be popular. I knew people were going to play new. I wanted to tweak it a little bit. Into new, I wanted to play Sound the Alarm. I really wanted to try it out because the hand information, I think, is a very big deal. I think that if you're able to know exactly where their play lines are going to be, their turn becomes a lot weaker. It also lets you go and tutor for Carapace on the top, so it helps you out with your decomp. So the only adjustments we made, and shout out to Martin, I was able to borrow a place at a Shelters finally instead of playing Fates. So yeah, that was the only change to the sideboard. No Remembrance, no third Evergreen. Without CYB, Fatigue has dropped off a little bit in terms of like actually being a problem for you. 2 Evergreen Loop is fine, and the Fertile Ground combo is enough to kill most heroes because of the non-existence of CYB. Everything else is exactly the same, so it's just a small tweak to the sideboard. Round 1, we play against Dio. Choose to go first and just try to gain life and fatigue anytime that they set up. We either want to play Disruption or we want to gain life. A really tight matchup. I block as efficiently as I can, including turns where they would play Boom Grenade. I would recognize that, based on the number of cards left in their hand and what my hand does, that the Boom Grenade would connect. So instead of trying to overblock on their attacks and then eventually having one just fully connect with the Boom Grenade, I just let the first one hit. But based on my hand, if it's 2-3 blocks and 2-2 blocks, I would just make sure I was never wasting a point of blocking value. So they would send 5, I would block 3, eat the, or if, like for instance, if they sent 4, I would just block 3, right? I wouldn't throw the 2 block to try to deny the Boom Grenade because I know it's gonna hit anyway. That really depends on if you have like D-reacts in your arsenal or if they're playing like a smaller hand. But I think at this point in the game he had set up like 2 or 3 items with like a Tekla core, playing a 5-card hand, and I'm like, that thing is gonna hit. Like I'm probably gonna get max speed. Overblocking and wasting point values is not beneficial for me, right? The Boom Grenade is already hit in my mind, so I'm gonna block as efficiently as I can. This ends up mattering very crucially because I win the game exactly 1 life. And that was blocking out down to my last card. I had 1 health left after the last pistol shot, and this was like the final turn of the game. Round 2, we play against Syndra. Pretty tight game overall. I have to send my first Valiant for 4, which maybe cost me the game. Goes back and forth. I'm really trying as hard as I can to keep some kind of disruption rolling so that 5-card hands can't happen. He presents Links into me over Mask, which is interesting because I now have to think about setup turns that also go a lot wider, which is what ends up happening. Uses Links offensively for a Lava Burst, which pushes a lot of damage into me. I have a pretty easy line to win. I would just have to take damage on my turn, play Tree, send the Surgeon, and he 0 AB, right? And he's at 8. I could just send 4 on the Tree, and then all I have to do is just draw a spell after that. Specifically Emeritus or Pulsing, which I think had almost all my copies left in the deck, so pretty high odds to draw it. But I end up dying to Throw Dagger. It was exact lethal with the Throw Dagger and the Flick as well. Tough loss. Don't really think I could have done much differently in that game. So now I'm in the losers bracket. So the way that this worked is that you would have a double elimination. So when you lost, you would go down in the losers bracket, and eventually, the losers bracket winner comes back up and plays the winner's bracket at the very end. So at this point, it's double elimination. If I lose again, I'm out. I go ahead and I play against Riptide. It was actually harder than I thought it was going to be. The game is on stream if you want to go watch it. And it's kind of interesting because he actually puts the gas pedal on really fast, plays like all 3 E-strikes really early, gets like Codex CNC lines a couple times, finds a Bolden shot. So I'm actually under the gun a lot faster than I expected. I thought I was gonna have a lot of time to block and set up the Fertile Ground combo. Now, the interesting thing here is that he presented Skullcap into me, which was a cool idea, right? Because you have Trench and then you have AB3 on the helmet, so you have AB4 as well as a blocking piece of equipment. The unfortunate thing was that because he drew so hot, I was down on life like basically the entire game. So I eventually started exploiting that to my own benefit, just sending trees and spells. But with the fact that he was now down to AB1, he just chipped a ton of damage. And then eventually I just like closed it out with the combo. And so that was round 3. Round 4, we play Kano, also on stream. That's a really interesting game. It came down to me just presenting threats every single turn, sandbagging blues when I had the opportunity to. The Kano was trying to set up for like a very specific sculpted hand. We never got down into second cycle, but they were like IPing. I mean, both of us are IPing in this matchup, trying to sculpt like a Kindle pop-off turn. And so I am just presenting 7-5. I'm throwing blue fruits when I can if I'm still holding other blues back. I'm just trying to get the clock going on the Kano. Eventually, with lethal presented, I play Plow. He's forced to go off, does the whole thing, kindles 3 times, has like a bunch of pots on the table, triple E pot, has the op potion as well, no deja vu pot, luckily for me. Basically, he goes off, and then I consider a couple lines. The biggest question was whether or not I had so I was sandbagging a Seeds of Tomorrow, and I had an E pot on the table, and I still had my Emeritus in my hand, my blue Emeritus. So the question was, do I want to let the Wildfire hit me for all the damage? Because he's at 4 with AB3. So if I just eat the Wildfire for 8, or if I partially block it out, I'm able to just wait for my moment, and then in response, pop Striders on my own turn, play the Emeritus, and deal lethal. Or do I want to pitch the Emeritus and try to block out the Wildfire with the Seeds? I end up going for the line where I play the Emeritus while still playing the Seeds. Because of my E-pot, I had 3 resources, so I'm able to play the Seeds of Tomorrow, bottom of my arsenal. And then still I'm able to hold up the 3 to wait for the right moment to play the Emeritus. So it ends up being that I play the Seeds, he's forced to play the rest of the spells he Kano'd instead to try to clear the Seeds prevention. And then all that resolves, then the Wildfire resolves. At that point, he has no spells available, so he has to crack his E-pots to go find them off the top. So he cracks the E-pots to go Kano, and then I, in response, crack my Striders and play Emeritus for lethal. It's a very cool game. Sick way to go down. And then our next round, also on stream, is against Jarl. That one was an absolute burner. There's a lot of things to go over. I don't know if I ever will, to be honest, but that would be a very interesting thing to rewatch. I think there's a couple lines I could have done differently, and maybe it would have got me the edge. I'm not sure. But what happened that game was I unfortunately set up the Fertile Grounds a little too late. The E-pots were in the bottom like 10 to 15 cards of the deck, which is like really unfortunate because I never got the space to resolve them. And there were a couple times in the mid game, because we were actually trading damage fairly aggressively, that I could have actually, Striders comboed, but I wasn't able to, specifically just because I didn't have the resources. Just not having the E-pots out is really detrimental to the Fertile Ground combo. And into something like Jarl, I kind of think I would prefer having H-pots. It just makes everything so much cleaner. But everything kind of goes wrong that could go wrong in this matchup. So the biggest thing was I got my Striders killed on a turn where I have the entire combo basically in my hands. I want to say he's around 20 health or something. I have the entire combo essentially, but I'm short on resources, so I can't just pop Striders, play my Fertile, play my Rampants, play a spell. I don't have the resources for it. So I have to let The Mangle carry over just by 1 because unfortunately he was able to pitch to the gloves. So the Mangle comes in for 10. I'm only able to block for 6 with the chess piece and a non-attack because I'd already used the arms at some point. So unfortunately, it kills the Striders. So now we can't Fertile Ground combo on his turn anymore. But then we just set up the E-Pot, and then we have the Fertile Ground and the Rampant ready to go. We draw into a blue and the Pulsing, so we have the entire combo for our turn, and we still have a lot of health. He plays Spinal, which is the one attack besides like maybe like CNC or something, but like a very specifically good one. Like if he had sent Mangle or whatever, we would just have the chess piece die. It's fine. But the fact that it was Spinal meant that we could not just play out our combo Aether-Tide for like 15 or whatever and then play our spell, right? Like he would also just be dead on the turn. So he lives again. We have to play the entire Fertile Ground combo, only amping the Pulsing Aether. It comes in for like 14 or whatever. We're off by 1. He has exactly enough to pitch out to AB because he brought AB2. I forgot whatever the math was. All I know is he lives at exactly 1 health. So we missed just like, it's so unfortunate. Just like this series of events that keeps on happening. And then we play an absolute barn burner. Like we are both going to 1, playing a fruit, some incidental life gain, going back up, chipping down again, going back to 1, redoing it. Like there are so many turns after this. And I'm just trying to find a way to find lethal because at that point I've used like my Plume, I've used my Rampants, I have 1 left in the deck. I don't have Striders anymore, so I have to play this entire game without it. I've blocked with all my Pulsings, I blocked with all my channels or played them. Eventually, I am able to eke out enough cards to be able to keep 1 final 3-card hand that lets me go pitch, play my final Fertile Ground to play my final Rampants, right? So I'm going to amp for 6 on the Verdance ping and deal 7, and he is at like 3 or whatever. So when I get this, I think that I literally have the game on lock. He top decks in that hand Seeds of Tomorrow and is able to exactly live again at 1 health. And then the game grinds out even more until eventually I'm trying to get the Evergreen loop going as well, until I unfortunately just die over by 1 health to a Terrace Underline. So just on the sledge. So very unfortunate game. There are things to consider, but I do feel, like I did most of what I could given the fact that it seemed like everything lined up very well. Specifically killing the Striders the turn before I could use them, into playing Spinal on the turn that I could Aether-Tide to combo on my turn, into having Seized exactly save yourself out of the game. So, unfortunate end to the run. So I got 6th of the tournament. So that was the list that I ran. If you want to give it a shot, like I said, mainly the only thing was kind of changing the way the combo works on the sideboard. It works as just, you're just going to play the Fertile Grounds and then you're going to do all your Rampants. This basically just cheats itself in as like a bunch of H-pots, right? It's not exactly 3, so the math is a little worse. But that's kind of the idea. So if you give it a shot, let me know what you think. Until next time, thank you for watching.